rescued from the water or were unsure. They had fled Florida with the help of the Federal Witness Protection Program, WITSEC, to stay safe until the U.S. government could locate and extradite Nick's nemesis, a powerful international businessman with a long reach. The FBI wanted their hands on Clayton Ames as badly as Nick did, but Ames made a habit of living abroad and moving around. When it came to catching, extraditing, and prosecuting the man who was now among the U.S. government's most wanted, Claire knew Nick wished he was a vigilante or hitman instead of a criminal lawyer who could only accuse and testify.
"Okay, enough about all that for now," Nick said. "Whoever rescues us, the new identification papers I have for all of us in this waterproof pouch are what we will have to go by. Lexi, we are going to have new, pretend names for a while, but it's a secret only the 7 of us can share. I was telling you on the plane that we are going to live in a new place for a while, and we need to learn these names and the story of where we came from."
Is it like a game?
Yes, but a very serious, important game.
Like life, Jace muttered. Then he said louder, "That box I had strapped to my wrist has some drinking water, some medical supplies, and a few rations. Semper paratus, semper fi. Listen up, everybody. You're with a former Navy pilot who has never crashed before but has training for it. We're going to be rescued, but meanwhile, we need to keep our heads up and work together. Like Claire said when we first made it into the rafts, we'll be okay." Tears stung Claire's eyes, and not just from the saltwater spray. The only 2 men she'd ever loved were with her. Jace, her ex, who had claimed he still loved her when he'd helped her out of the sinking plane and into the raft. And Nick, who had taken her life and love by storm. They had been forced by his nemesis, Clayton Ames, to marry, but she had come to not only desire, but love Nick. Thank God the 3 of them were getting along in this desperate flight. But to live all together as the WITSEC program had planned? That scared her almost as much as this shifting, sliding, endless sea. As dawn broke, raising their hopes they would be spotted, Jace passed around the water canteen again so they could each take a drink, as a chaser after a tasteless biscuit. Nick saw that Jace had put the dry jacket he had loaned him around Lexi. Jace looked like a Viking at sea, ruddy and blonde compared to Nick's dark hair dusted with silver. The 2 men's gazes met. They'd been at loggerheads over Claire, so Nick hoped they could work together to be rescued. But their hideout plans for that had been for northern Michigan, not on a rubber raft in the middle of the Straits of Florida. Nick looked away and hit his fist hard on his knee. He'd left his prosperous Naples, Florida law firm of Markwood, Britten, and Chase in the hands of the other partners. He'd used the cover story he was leaving immediately for Belgium to assist an important government figure with legal advice. He'd told them he was taking his family and a small support staff with him, and asked them to cover his cases. True, they were used to his going off to work on his private South Shores project, for which he advised and sometimes defended people shattered by suicides that could be murders. But his lies haunted him, since he wasn't allowed to trust anyone but this group with the knowledge of his part in the Witness Protection Program, which was run under the aegis of the FBI. Hell, he thought, forget the desertion of his friends and his law firm being the worst that could happen. Not only had their plane crashed, but he'd just seen a fin, more than one, slice through a wave near them. Sharks! Who knew how long they'd been so close in the dark? And Jace had fallen into the water getting them off the plane. A shark. That was the way he'd always thought of the man he was certain had not only ruined his father financially, but had murdered him, too, and made it look like a cowardly suicide. Clayton Ames, a deadly, devouring shark. "Jace," Nick hissed, and the man's eyes flew open. "What?" Jace mouthed. Nick pointed at the circling fins and read Jace's lips as he cursed silently. There were at least 3 sharks near them. Nick noted Heck had seen them, too. His right-hand man had mentioned these waters were full of them, a threat to Cubans fleeing the island, though it hadn't stopped the influx to the state.